as we're in the midst of the fear and turmoil and concerns of a global pandemic, and awareness and concern for our health, our vitality of ourselves, our loved ones, our families, our nations, and our communities, is that we live in a healing creation. We live on a planet that is the very epitome of living abundance. And so that truly healing is all around us. And so I would begin by saying that the medicine of the future is vibrational medicine. And that healing itself is about vibration and existing in harmonious vibration, which creates a vector point, a vector of positive healing influence, if you will. And so as I bring forth the medicine of the soul, vibrational medicine, there is also the phenomena of plant medicine. And yet what this Rishi wants to share with you, offer you, transmit to you, is vibrational plant medicine. The vibrational transmittal of it. And so this is transmission healing, vibrational transmission, and vibrational plant medicine divine healing. Some of you know about my journeys into the deep Amazon. And so the plant medicine transmission that I will offer today is from the Lost Valley of the Beginning. On the northern slope of Pico Neblina between Brazil and Venezuela is also a very sacred Amazonian tribe who has long been the guardians of the Lost Valley of the Beginning. And in the Lost Valley of the Beginning is the grandmother plant of the entire plant kingdom for our planet. And so feel this, if you will. The grandmother plant. For the entire plant kingdom, for the whole of the world. All hemispheres, all types of plant species, flower species. And so my mission into the Amazon was to have direct transmission with this grandmother plant. And the name of this plant, which the elders of the Amazonian tribes have given it, is called the Royal Flower of Divine Remembrance. The Royal Flower of Divine Remembrance. And so let us begin healing transmission. The more that you receive it, the more your body will vibrate, and the more you can transmit this vibration to others. It is for healing. It is for healing the world. It is for healing pandemics. It is for lifting vibration. It is the vibration of the flower of life itself. It is a plant medicine vibration. And so all the way from the deep Amazon, from the grandmother plant of the plant kingdom, feel this vibration. Breathe it in, receive it, open yourself to it. Flower of life, oneness, unity. Royal flower of divine remembrance. Plant medicine transmission. As you lift yourselves into a transcendent state of mind, as you find your sacred space, as you open your heart of hearts, your third eye, your entire aura, receive this plant transmission for healing, for strengthening, vitality, longevity. This is a sacred journey, dear ones. Trust your experience. As the dimensions begin to open and altered states of consciousness begin to unfold, allow your own flowering of awareness. Trust your experience. Receive. Open. Expand. Immerse. Let go. The flower of life is an ever-replicating, ever-perfecting proliferation, ever-renewing, ever-regenerating, it is the mother of Genesis itself. The royal flower of divine remembrance, as you receive this healing transmittal, is also a call to remember. That no matter what comes and goes, all of the experiences on the swinging pendulum of human life, the oneness prevails. And so the royal flower of divine remembrance is to instill the permeation of your living remembrance of the oneness of all things within all things. This is where we will find our healing, our restoration, and the power of regeneration. So holding your sacred space, sitting in this transmission of plant medicine, divine healing. Breathe it in. Receive this exquisite vibration. And allow your experience to unfold. Allow your healing journey to unfold. Become timeless. As we open the dimensions, the stargates, the corridors of time, to return to the original blueprint of perfection for this universe. So feel and sense the flower of life. Trust your journey. Your plant medicine journey. Transmission from the star system, the Pleiades, who gifted to this planet, this grandmother plant, this healing plant medicine. open yourself to this healing grace. This plant medicine transmission. In this healing grace, this all-permeating celestial calm. This oneness of all existence. Travel on light, journey on this vibrational transmission, trusting the flowering of your experience, your awareness, your deepening. In oneness. And the ever-regenerating reality of pure existence. Pure existence. And if you like, you can call forth for healing for yourself or others. You may set intention. You may invoke. You may pray. Feel the vibration permeating your very being. As you bring your sacred heart to this journey of plant medicine transmission. All blessings. I wanted to embrace this time of opportunity as the healing arts in all of their empowerment become ever more important to each of us, to our families, to our countries, and to the world as a whole. For many years, I have been guided to prepare for the time that we have entered now. And in the very late 80s and early 90s, I was called to the healing arts. And that is when I first came to Sedona in 1990 and began to teach at a very beautiful and serving healing institute. And in my return to Sedona now, I very much wish to acknowledge, to emphasize, to appreciate all of the healers who have called Sedona their home and offer such a plethora of the healing arts to all the visitors that come here. And so as we face global challenge together, and what we are facing now is not the final challenge by any means, but rather our challenge lies first and foremost within ourselves. And so the call to healing and to become a healing Sedona and a healing soul and a healing nation and a healing planet, that clarion call is being issued forth planet-wide now. And so I have foreseen for some 30 years the proliferation of healing institutes, of great halls of learning here in Sedona, where the healing arts and the meditation arts are flourishing. And I very much seek to facilitate the Omni Institute of Divine Sciences, which sponsors my work here in Sedona, to also break ground, to create, to build anew, to let it rise, the path of healing and the incredible healing program that has been waiting in my Royal Path archives of transmission teachings, the teachings of the masters, and all of the programs and courses and syllabuses that are ready now to go out into the world to make a difference. We can be more empowered than ever, for it is time to love and serve and heal as never before. And so as we bring through the healing grace, let your own healing light shine to the whole of the world. And so as we come together as one heart and one mind and one healing empowerment, let us transmit the pure grace, the light of each of us and our ability to heal. For it matters not whether you are a doctor or a nurse, or whether your work is shamanic, or whether it is energetic healing. All of those ways, the lighted way, all of those modalities, all of the ways that you have trained, and all of the expansion that will just flow through you as you dedicate yourself to being an instrument of healing. So let us put forth this transmission of healing light, sending it out to those who need it most. And for those who feel called to the healing and teaching arts, join me as we radiate to the world the healing grace that uplifts the human soul beyond the miasm of illness, beyond the divisiveness of ego consciousness, so that we truly do become Christ conscious, Shambhala conscious, unity conscious, oneness conscious. That is the healing grace that heals us one and all. One of the most important understandings, I feel, that truly catapulted my awakening into far more material embodiment, everyday embodiment, is to understand that there are 3 planes of mastery. And the clarion call, especially for the modern bodhisattva, for modern awakening and contemporary, if you will, service, world service, selfless service, divine service, ultimately lies with mastering all 3 planes: the material, the spiritual, and the divine. You see. And so there's a lot of emphasis on the spiritual and being spiritual, and yet sometimes that can end up being a bit of a cul-de-sac for a while. And particularly if there's a lot of enamoring and perhaps even vanity and the vice of awakening, I call it. And what I would say is that one cannot get identified with spiritual, being spiritual. One cannot get identified with being awakened, if you will, you see, and ever hope to move through that pristine eye of the needle of the enlightened state. And so true mastery, especially now for the modern bodhisattva, for us to become global guardians, for us to become caretakers of this planet, is to master all 3 worlds, all 3 realms, the divine, the spiritual, and the material. And so all of it is a progression, if you will. And yet this is the significance of deep meditation, of igniting meditation, of using the pillar of light technique that is my signature Omni meditation, if you will, because it has enough illumination, enough higher vibration that it lifts you out of the ego mind. And it also lifts you out of the astral plane. And the astral plane I also call the Shadowlands. And there is a whole spectrum of activity in the astral plane, from demonic to angelic, actually, but it's still astral plane, you see. And shamanic work and so forth, which for some can be so very valuable for healing, for understanding, and for awakening. But what I will say to you is it's still the plane of cause and effect. So feel and understand what I say, that ego, the materiality, the astral plane, is where the workings out, the karmic interplay, if you will, of cause and effect is taking place. And if you feel the vibration lifting up, and I go to the divine plane, the plane of absolute, the plane of will, the plane of cause, then perhaps you can appreciate that the spiritual plane is the intermediary between the divine plane of cause, where manifestation issues forth, and the spiritual plane is where it precipitates, and the material plane is where it manifests. Do you see? And so it is significant for all of you who are in the throes of accelerated awakening now to use the power of Omni meditation, of the pillar of light, to make that transit beyond the ego banter, the ego mind, beyond the astral plane altogether, completely beyond it, beyond even the spiritual plane, dear ones, beyond even that, to the plane of the purely divine, the plane of causes. That which is the divine plan for an ever-perfecting universe, an ever-perfecting cosmos. Do you see? The outpouring of this divine plan for an ever-perfecting universe. Feel and sense the words ever-perfecting perfection. That is an unceasing proliferation, is it not? And so when we strive to be able to see, to know, to feel, to intuit, it is the divine realms wherein the greatest clarity exists. The astral plane, my darlings, can be experienced. It can be a learning tool. Third eye in the astral plane, astral projection, all of those sorts of things. This Rishi Mother will tell you it is a learning, but it is still what a true spiritual master would consider the kindergarten of spiritual awakening. And so, do not become enamored of the astral plane. Do not make it a new religion. It will not serve you. Do not grasp and cling and hold on to anything, darlings. To go through that pristine silver eye of the needle of enlightenment, you go through as nothing. You go through empty, 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 nothing, nothing, no one, no one, no one, no one. That is what goes through the eye of the needle of enlightenment, ultimately. Not what you know and not what you have experienced, but that which you are, beyond knowledge, beyond experience, that which is existence itself. Existence. So feel and sense once again the material, the spiritual, the divine. The material and the astral, cause and effect. Spiritual is where cause and effect begin to become mitigated, where cause and effect becomes conscious, so that choices can be made, so that higher discernment is developed, you see. And yet it is the divine, the purely divine, which is where all true omniscience outflows. The power of divine will, the power of the divine plan, the power of cause, the power of the great divine directive for the activation of awakening. So feel that which is cause, that which is supreme power, benevolent, holy power, and that which is spiritual, that which takes that power, you see, and brings it into acts of service, endeavors of service, that spiritualizes the divine so that it can be received in the physical, so that it can be received by the material. But without that empowerment of divine vibration, divine manifestation is simply not possible. And so one cannot manifest a new world from the astral planes. One cannot manifest a new world from merely the material, no matter how much expertise in the material one might think one has. One cannot reconfigure an entire planet and all of its systems, darlings, and the way that we live and walk and share this planet's resources with each other without that omniscience of the divine and the power of the divine plan itself moving through us. It is then that we ourselves become instruments of cause. And we are no longer in the crazy making of cause and effect. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. We are that which is the outpouring of the purely divine. The purely divine.